Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Active Liberty, Interpreting Our Democratic Constitution, by Stephen Breyer, narrated by the author and directed by Matthew Kavnar. This book is copyrighted 2005 by Stephen Breyer. This recording is copyrighted 2006 by Recorded Books. Regarding the Constitution as a guide for the application of basic American principles to a living and changing society, rather than as an arsenal of rigid legal means for binding and restricting it, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer argues here that the genius of the Constitution rests not in any static meaning it might have had in a world that is dead and gone, but in the adaptability of its great principles to cope with current problems. And now, Active Liberty.
Introduction. The United States is a nation built upon principles of liberty. That liberty means not only freedom from government coercion, but also the freedom to participate in the government itself. When Jefferson wrote, "I know no safe depository of the ultimate powers of the society but the people themselves," his concern was for abuse of government power. But when he spoke of the rights of the citizen as a participator in the government of affairs, when Adams, his rival, added that all citizens have a positive passion for the public good, and when the founders referred to public liberty, they had in mind more than freedom from a despotic government. They had invoked an idea of freedom as old as antiquity, the freedom of the individual citizen to participate in the government and thereby to share with others the right to make or to control the nation's public acts. Writing 30 years after the adoption of the American Constitution and the beginnings of the French Revolution, the political philosopher Benjamin Constant emphasized the differences between these two kinds of liberty. He called them the liberty of the ancients and the liberty of the moderns. He described the liberty of the ancients as an active liberty. It consisted of a sharing of a nation's sovereign authority among the nation's citizens. From the citizen's perspective, it meant an active and constant participation in collective power. It included the citizen's right to deliberate in the public place, to vote for war or peace, to make treaties, to enact laws, to examine the actions and accounts of those who administer government, and to hold them responsible for their misdeeds. From the nation's perspective, it meant submitting to all the citizens without exception the care and assessment of their most sacred interests. This sharing of sovereign authority, Constant said, enlarged the citizens' minds, ennobled their thoughts, and established among them a kind of intellectual equality which forms the glory and the power of a people. At the same time, ancient liberty was incomplete. It failed to protect the individual citizen from the tyranny of the majority. It provided the dismal pretext for those who advocated new kinds of tyranny. Having seen the terror, Constant was well aware of the dangers of subjecting the individual to the unconstrained authority of the group, and he warned against borrowing from the ancient republics the means for governments to oppress us. Constant argued that governments must protect the true modern liberty. That liberty, civil liberty, freedom from government, consisted of the individual's freedom to pursue his own interests and desires free of improper government interference. Constant argued that both kinds of liberty, ancient and modern, are critically important. A society that overemphasizes ancient liberty places too low a value upon the individual's right to freedom from the majority. A society that overemphasizes modern liberty runs the risk that citizens, enjoying their private independence and in the pursuit of their individual interests, will too easily renounce.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?